Actually, I have also written on a book. It's about idioms and proverbs. I taught idioms and proverbs through Hindi cinema. So it has been published by Rupa Publication. By Rupa? Yeah. So the question is, like when you said it, that it's meant for children, it's meant for teenager, and it's meant for adults also. Because idioms and proverbs, idioms, they, no?
As if we use them in our everyday language,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Seize the day in some ways as well.
Absolutely. No, but because I'm the author who has written the book for the first time, so everybody tells me to put it in a box, like which age group. So I always say it's meant for everyone, so how to frame it.
That's a very good question, and both in America and here, one of the problems with my kind of writing, and it is true, I do confess this again in a public space, but I submitted a manuscript to HarperCollins after the first book was published, and the first thing the publisher said to me is this for children or for adults? And then I had to sort of work with it because she was a children's book publisher. So Harper has the children's book publisher as well as the adults. And I said, well, I brought it to you. I mean, it could be for everyone. See, that's how I write as well. And I completely hear you because when I'm writing, I'm not thinking of what age group is it being written for. Now in America, it's very, very strict. So if you are writing for 4 to 8 year olds, it better have the right kind of words for 4 to 8 year olds, etc., etc. I've published in America as well, but I really love publishing in India because they let me get away with writing a children's book that adults can also read. Such, that's true.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Jyoti and thank you so much. This was really interesting. Though I do have a few observations and points to discuss. The first thing that we call it She Speaks, but my question still remains and what Spivak had raised and which she got so much flack for, can the subaltern speak? And when we were saying that never settle, I remember a small thing by my professor who came to me and in class, and I was pretty young at that time, and she said to me that sometimes I wonder when I teach lessons of rebellion to the lower privileged class, I'm unsettling them and I'm just making them unhappy with their lot. And it's a huge responsibility, and what do I do about that? And sometimes I feel that I shouldn't be doing it because they are not going to get anything out, they're just going to get unhappy. Being a feminist, I totally agree, and I totally appreciate what you said about mother and daughter, because I think that's one relationship that needs to be fostered, and Freud and Electra and Oedipal complex, they've got a lot of beating, and what we're looking at is the rejuvenation or regeneration of mother-daughter relationships. But once again, coming back to how do we reach the women and how does she speak, I think the idea of translations and different languages and somehow what we are saying percolating down to the oral narratives, to what people listen, to what, not just women, but men and women both listen, and a reworking of stories and myths. And that's why I'm discussing this video. So yeah, but thanks a lot. It was very interesting.
Thank you so much.
Can I have the mic?
I have taught at 2 colleges, which was so, geographically they were very close to each other, Lady Shri Ram College and Deshbandhu College. But absolutely crazy when it comes to my experiences in both these colleges, because LSR, elite, a certain kind of students would be there, and in Deshbandhu, some of my students were first generation university goers. Their parents never went to a university. And when I can understand the concern that your professor must have had, that rather than bringing any change to their lives, are we unsettling them? It's very important to unsettle people, because when you settle them down, they stop questioning. And when you stop questioning, you are, yes, absolutely, because yes, you will be unhappy. All of us are unhappy.
Which is why in America, what we call African Americans now, but the blacks, were not given the privilege of reading, of learning, of education for such a long period of time. Because if you read, you know and you learn, and with knowledge you get unsettled, and then there could be revolt, and they could question the state of mind and what they're doing, their lives, right? So this is one way of shackling people when we don't unsettle them.
Which is why when there's war, they burn libraries and
Absolutely,
manuscripts.
absolutely. Burn the books.
What was that?
At Himala, it's time as well, since